Hello, everyone. Today we are getting to know Kibla. Kibla, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm really well, really well. Thank you for the invite. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Thank you for doing this. You are my very first interview guest, and let's just dive in. So,
Yes,
you are from the UK.
that's
I
right.
am American. Have you ever traveled to the US? And if not, would you?
I haven't, and it is on my top priority list of getting to the States. Life just took over, to be honest. And my brother lived there for a bit in New York. He was doing work over there, and he was like, make sure you come over. You got to go New York Comic Con. So it's on my list. I haven't been yet, but hopefully one day soon I'll get to go.
Absolutely. I would love to have you over. I've never been to the UK, so I'd love
Okay,
to
cool.
cross
Definitely.
over the
Yeah,
pond. And your brother Gilman, correct, is who you're
that's
talking
right.
about? I
Yeah.
love that. I didn't know he lived in New York.
He works for the Wall Street Journal, Dow Jones. He's been with them for coming up to 20 years now. So he's got to travel the world. And he kind of left the UK and said, I'm just going to travel and live different places. He's like the lone wanderer who wants to see
Sure.
different people, different cultures. And States was like on his list. And he was like, he loves New York. He loves hip hop. It was like that was the place to be at the time.
I love that. Do you miss him?
Oh yeah, massive amount, massive amount. That's why we started our journey in what we do with the podcast as well. So it kept
Absolutely.
us closer. Even though he's far away, we still kept closer.
And keeps you connected as
That's right.
well.
Yeah.
Speaking of traveling, I did see some throwback clips circa 2015 of you doing some martial arts in Hong Kong.
Oh
How
wow.
often do you travel? What was that experience like in Hong Kong? It seemed very significant for you. And what has your favorite travel destination been?
Hong Kong is when my brother finally moved from the States into Hong Kong because of his martial arts background. My dad was a martial artist. We're big fans of Bruce Lee. And when he said he's going to move to Hong Kong, I took that trip there to kind of see how he settled in. And I went through quite a bad time, mental health, life, and it rejuvenated my inspiration back into art again. And that holiday was like a big crucial part of my life of coming back from darkness into the light. Hong Kong is amazing. It's a beautiful place. You've got the skyscrapers, you've got the nice food, but the people. And we grew up on Hong Kong cinema as well. So when it came to martial arts, you've got your action John Woo movies that came out that we grew up on as well. To be in the same locations as Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport to John Woo's The Killer and A Better Tomorrow, it was like us reliving our teenage years, watching those movies growing up to being in them places. But then it inspired me in art again as well. I've always been a comic book artist and stopped for a good 15 years. And then
Mm,
suddenly it all came rushing back to me in Hong
totally.
Kong. Yeah, Hong Kong is beautiful. But favorite place I've been to is South Africa. South Africa. South Africa is like absolutely gorgeous. We were in a safari and just to lay down and see the galaxy and the stars. There's no light pollution there, so you can literally just absorb what you're seeing in the sky. We did campfires. Oh, it was beautiful. South Africa is amazing. Nature. Oh, I love nature. It really
Absolutely.
brought me down back to reality a little bit more about the wonders that we have right here in front of us and that we can experience. So yeah, South Africa is the best. Been lucky enough to go to a lot of places on the east side of the world. I need to hit the west, like the States and
Sure.
Canada and Brazil. I want to go to those places. My brother has experienced them, so I've lived through his eyes on those, but I need to see it for myself, definitely.
That all sounds incredible. I've actually yet to travel abroad at all. So it's
Wow.
like I'm just adding to my bucket list of destinations.
Well, yeah,
Speaking
you're
of,
in for a treat. You're in for a treat. Like it opens up your reality in such a different way, in such a different concept. So absolutely, I can't wait to hear your stories now once you travel.
well, I can't wait to share them with you. Absolutely.
Oh, bless.
And I love when you were talking about feeling almost like a full circle moment happening with
Hmm.
your visits to Hong Kong and explaining South Africa. Another thing I learned about you through my research was how humble you are and how grounded, grateful, centered you are. You were talking about really appreciating what you have in front of you. And I think that is so important and something that I've definitely been practicing in my life
Hmm.
as well, and it really makes a world of a difference. Would you agree with your
No,
perspective?
100%, 100%. I mean, we have our moments. We're human beings at the end of the day. So we're going to go through all of the sins and all of the goodness. And then, you get to a point in your life where you're like, you appreciate everything around you, honestly. It has to be a humbling experience. I'm not sure if I'm going to wake up tomorrow and what do I leave for my kids and my family. It came to a point after my 30s, and I'm old school. After my 30s, something changed. Something will change, and everybody will have a tragic moment. Exactly why comic books were created, because tragic moments happen in comic books for us to believe in these characters. It will happen to yourself as well. And I'm telling you, comic books are kind of ingrained in my DNA because we see ourselves in those characters. We see ourselves in those situations, but it's how we overcome those obstacles as well. And I learned a lot of being selfish, being greedy, showing off, and then realizing that can all be gone within a moment, within a second, sorry, within even half a second. Click of a finger, you can
Absolutely.
lose everything. You can have everything and lose everything. And I think it was that quote with Iron Man. He goes, "You're a man with everything, yet nothing." And that was me
Mm,
at that time of my life. 2015 was the change. I had that moment in front of Bruce Lee's statue in Stars of Avenue in Hong Kong, right next to the riverbed. I took a sketchbook with me anyway. I always doodled, but I did a couple of pieces of artwork there, and that kind of changed. And then my kids, oh my God, my kids. I couldn't imagine life without my kids right now. Like what they do to me, that's an abundance of love that I've never experienced in my whole entire lifetime. And I think a lot of parents will say that as well. But I'm telling you, those kids, they save my life on a daily basis because we go through so much. And like
sure.
one little smile, one little kiss, one little dad, you didn't forget to say bye or a message that says I love you changes everything for me. So yeah, no, definitely. Proper, I have to be grateful for what I have in this lifetime. And I don't take anything with me. Wherever I go, I don't take nothing with me. So I'm still that little geek, that 10-year-old boy that can't believe like some of these things are happening right now.
Sure. I really love that. Great hearing you talk about fatherhood and the impact of that. You just posted on your Instagram story about the overwhelming feeling of love and pride and just admiration for your children. You got their school photos back recently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I just thought that was very sweet and touching. Speaking of your love for comics, of course, you've mentioned how pop culture, comics, obviously you were elaborating on what they mean to you, what they represent to you, the stories and characters. How did you get into comics?
Saturday morning cartoons were always the big thing in the 80s. That's what we grew up with. But I think it was 1992. I was about 11 years old or 12 years old. My uncle passed me down a comic book. So I've always drawn Superman anyway. So Superman's the main OG character that kind of
Mhm.
kick-started it all off. But comics was introduced to me when I was about 11, 12. He gave me the six-part series, Man of Steel. I think it was John Byrne who was the artist. Now we get motion comics, which is amazing. But that was the first time I saw comics come out of the page. I saw a moving image on a piece of paper, and that was it. I was stuck. I fell in love with the X-Men. I related really massively to the X-Men because I was going through those things as a teenager, and to see a well-diverse team like that. So X-Men is very close to my heart, but Superman started it off, Man of Steel. That was the OG that started it off. And then as I've got into the comic book world, I love them all. It's not
Sure.
just Marvel, DC, IDW, Dark Horse. Oh my God, we go through a very big rabbit hole of comic book collecting in my house. So yeah, definitely. That's where it all started off. Like, and my uncle, he was the one. He loved comic
Mhm.
books. He was an artist as well, so he was my inspiration. My mum is an artist. She never admits it, but she's an
Oh,
artist as well. She does embroidery. She does fashion.
beautiful.
During the early 80s, she worked with a lot of people during that time, and I was like, "You're an artist." And that's how I get my creativity. So yeah, that's where it started.
I love that. And it's funny that you mention your family pretty much being made up of artists because that was one of my questions for you. Was your family supportive of your creativity and interest growing up? I would assume the obvious answer is yes.
No.
No.
They wasn't. They didn't believe in it. They're from Bangladesh. They came here just after the Second World War. So,
Okay.
Britain was going through quite a lot at the time. My granddad served in the army as well. So that's why they invited him over. The British lost so many youngsters during that Second World War and they needed to rebuild this country again. So granddad came in 97, I think. After he came here, he kind of retired here and then went back home to Bangladesh after. But my parents, strict Islamic background, that's where I'm coming from. Didn't really believe in art because they didn't think it was going to pay bills. They thought it was the devil's work being creative. But then I was like, I didn't understand it because my dad doesn't like to admit the fact that he introduced pop culture to us. My dad was working two jobs, so sometimes when we were home after school, we were watching movies like The Predator and Back to the Future and all of these movies that he'd just leave there for us. And it's like, all right, let's watch these. And, because he loves cinema. He doesn't admit to it. He loves Italian spaghetti Western movies. We grew up on that.
Mm,
Clint Eastwood, Sergio Leone, Lee Van Cleef. We grew up on those movies. So it's like he doesn't realize that he introduced us into cinema and got us into pop culture. My mum was creative. She did embroidery. She did fashion work. She worked on a machine day and night. We saw her do her work. And then we had a couple of frames that are around the house that were embroidered like roses and flowers and things like that. My dad's sister as well, who passed away quite young. We had a lot of her embroidery up on our walls as well. So we do come from a creative background. They just don't like to admit it because they feel like it's the devil's work. And I'm like, it doesn't
sure.
work like that. They have come to a realization now. It's weird because when we became teenagers, when they did the pilgrimage in Mecca, they came back and said, we're really sorry about the way we treated you when you was younger because we didn't realize we should have been more like friends to you guys as well to understand where you guys are coming from. We did parenting wrong and we didn't understand. We can't blame them for that because they were brand new parents when they had us. And I
Absolutely.
understood that when I had my kids, it's going to be different all the way through the different generations. Yes, it was harsh and it was different at the time. Culture and religion play a big part, can confuse and conflict a lot of things as well in the process. But once you start reading and educating yourself in the process about where I'm from originally and the religion that I follow as well and what I believe in are two
Hmm.
different things. And then you go back in history as well. To be honest, I'm Indian. We got separated later on due to their issues in those countries and borderlines were created. We go through our ancestral background, I probably have Mongolian in my background as well. So it's like once people dig into that sort of things, you can kind of work out where you're coming from and why they were raised in that sort of way. Because back centuries ago, when people were creative and they drawn, they were seen as witches and wizards and all the rest of it.
Sure.
So it's weird how all those fable talks that we see in stories, we would have been called that in those centuries. It was a very tough road for me being an artist to try and make my path to understand it to now them saying, "Oh my God, we're proud of you. You actually you actually did it." I didn't want to prove them wrong. That's not the point of it. I haven't got no vendetta against my parents. They
Sure.
tried very hard to tell me that it wasn't right, and I had to tell them that creativity is in all of us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I very much relate to a lot of what you said, and I'm glad that your parents did eventually come around with being a father yourself. Empathy really changes our perspective.
Hmm.
And absolutely, I think everyone, whether you make a career out of it or not, we all have creativity and artistry within us.
Yeah,
Everyone expresses themselves in a
of
different way, for
course, of
sure.
course, of course. I love that. I think we're in an era right now. As much as social media can be positive, it does have its negative effects. But the fact that you are brave enough to put your work out there, to your example of your cosplay, you're putting it out there. That's your bravery in what you do and your courage and your creativity and expressing yourself as well. I think that is amazing that we've come to a point where I love seeing all the creativity at the moment because it's going to inspire me to suddenly say, oh, you know what? I'm going to sketch that person because that was absolutely amazing. So I feel like we're at that era of all of us being very creative without the negativity of social media anyway.
Absolutely. Oh, and thank you so much for the kind words. I feel the same way about you and your art. You are a very talented, multidisciplinary artist. If you had to choose between digital, ink and paper, and fabric and paint, which one is your favorite?
Ink and paper. I love digital. Digital is a faster process to get work done and to get through projects really quickly. So basically, I still do my drawings on pencil and paper, and then I will scan it in and digitize it after. But I love the process of looking at a blank piece of paper and kind of thinking, what am I going to create today? Uh,
Hmm.
but paper and pencil has this different feel to it. Each line represents something. Each line means
Hmm.
something to you as well. Doesn't matter how sketchy or anything like that. The more sketchy it is, I realize that's when I'm kind of impatient or can't get something right. My sketching skills actually interprets how I'm feeling at that moment as well. As an artist and going through life, things change dramatically in the process. Your style will change. You'll look to other artists along the journey as well to kind of find out like how can I reassure my own insecurities about finding my own style. And I was very insecure, even all the way till a couple of years ago, till finally I came to a point where I mentor and I do workshops with the next generation to inspire them in
Mhm.
art. And I was like, oh my God, I'm an artist. I finally said it. I'm an artist. And it was
How did
such
that
a moment.
feel?
It's taken years to kind of really come to that point where you're like, oh my God, I know who I am right now. You still have your moments of doubt and confusion, but now I have a stamp to say, I'm an artist. I don't have a style and I don't need to have a style to do the work that I want to do because you can adapt to anything, I think, as a person. And some people do have a style and that's amazing, but some people won't find a style. And I think that's because of probably borderline ADHD. I suffered dyslexia as well. Dyslexia was never diagnosed, but ADHD was never diagnosed. But I know there's traits of them. So that could be where I had my conflicts of my insecurities of trying to accept the fact that I am an artist. I am an artist. And when I got to that point, it was such a exhilarating moment. Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you proud of how far you've come in your artistry and development in your craft?
100%, 100%. We're always learning. There's never
Mhm.
a moment of saying I am a master. I mean, you can say that, I suppose, but I'm proud, definitely,
Yeah.
100%. It's been a long journey, and it's nice to be kind to yourself because I think personally, when you're kind to yourself, you're forgiving to yourself, you tend to kind of accept things a bit more better as well. It took a long time to get to that point, honestly. I'm proud of the work I've done. I mean, whatever happens to me later on, my kids, my nieces, my nephews, they have a catalogue of things to go through and say, you know what? I had the coolest uncle and the coolest dad. My life now is to inspire them. It's to inspire
Hmm.
them. Yeah. The next generation, definitely.
Hmm. In addition to the inspiring piece of it, as you've been speaking on your family and how important they are to you, it's also important to you, from my research, to leave a legacy of
Hmm.
things that you're proud of and things that
Yeah.
if they wanted to pursue themselves, they feel like they can. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Is there any fine art medium that you haven't tried before that you would love to?
Life drawings. I want to get into more storyboarding and I've done two books at the moment. And I'd like to do the third one, but I would like some realism to it. So I'm doing some life drawings classes at the moment now to refine my artwork a little bit more and to
Sure.
have a bit of realism. So that was the one that I've never done before. And it was like, I've always found it very, I think back then, being in a classroom with like 30 people and watching somebody while you're trying to draw something, I suppose I didn't have that being comfortable with that at the time. But now I'm older, my mind is wiser. It's all about the
Sure.
art. Yeah, it's all about the art. Yeah.
How are you enjoying it?
It's really good. Oh my God. I feel like it's a different style that I think I will implement into the work that I do now as well. Each line on a person's face, body, clothing represents so much when you're interpreting it on a piece of paper or digital format. It's like when you see a front cover of a comic book when it's drawn by artists like Jim Lee or Scott Williams or Todd McFarlane. You know the style, but you know how he draws the eyes. Jim Lee's eyes are amazing when he draws his characters, but expressions are almost his facial structure. So he uses his facial structure a lot when he draws. Todd McFarlane, he has elongated bodies with the knees and the elbows are quite pointy. You notice those little things. And I feel like I've always wanted to kind of get to that point, but they've done so many drawings over the past 40 years that they know the autonomy so well. And I think I still have time to learn a lot more of that as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely enjoying it. Definitely enjoying it.
I mentioned it earlier how I love your open-mindedness and your willingness to keep learning, keep growing,
Hmm.
being a student of life, essentially. And you've also made a comment about being old. I mean, you don't have to tell us your age, but it seems like you've lived one hell of a life. You seem very young to me, not just in appearance, but in spirit. What would you say to someone who feels like they're too old to learn something new?
Oof, never, never,
Never.
never. I mean, look at this is a very bad example. No, it's not actually a bad example, is it? The Colonel at KFC was 65 when they started his franchise of KFC. There you go. There's one
Mm.
part. You know what I mean? So there are so many artists that have started after their 40s. I am, oh my God, I'm 43 this year, but I'm young at heart.
Wait a minute. Oh, I hope I get to be where you're at. I'm 43.
I am 43. I'm 43. I
Kib,
turned 43 this year. Young at heart,
happy
you know,
birthday to you.
thank you so much. Thank you. I laugh a lot. I'm around good people. My kids keep me young as well. They keep me on my toes, even though my internal parts of my body are starting to give up on me. A lot of yoga, a lot of meditation. I've got my mantras through the day that I need to go through. I mean, I suffer degenerative disc disease as well, so my lower back is absolutely gone. But,
I'm sorry to hear
training
that.
and all of that, that's all right. It's okay. It's part of the growing up part. But yeah, a very long time. But you're never too late. Oh my God, you're never too late to learn something new. I mean, I started painting on fabrics only a couple of months ago, and it's like, oh my God, I'm really enjoying the process. It's
Yeah.
so hard. It's so hard because you're trying to hold clothing together. Unless you tape it down to the desk. I'm a bit messy when it comes to art and I love being messy with art. So I've always got things loose and hanging around, things dropping, but it's never too late. Oh my God, never too late to learn a trade. I stopped martial arts for a good probably 15 years. It's always been in there. I'll always go back to training. I'll always do those kicks. I'll always love that because it's a part of me. Same thing with art. I want to learn different things, but it's not even that languages as well. My daughter's learning
Mhm.
French at the moment. And while she's learning French, I'm picking up on words as well. She's learning Bengali, which is my hometown language. I don't know it properly myself. She's learning that as well. She's picking up Arabic. She's a sponge right now, but I'm still learning through their eyes in the process as well. We live in a society where giving up is really easy because we get nothing but bad news most of the time. You've got to look around. We have energy and source from everything around us. We're grounded to a whole different level. I have my tough days, but we have to keep moving forward. So never too late, never too old. Honestly, it's like a half marathon that I ran a couple of years ago, just after 2015. It's called Tough Mudder, and it's 13 miles with 20 obstacles, electrocution, really cold water, loads of mud, and I did it. But there was a woman next to me. She was 62 or 63 years old, and she was like, keep moving, don't stop, because I kept on taking breathers. And I was like, how are you doing this? And she was like, I love this. I love this pain, but I know that at the end of it, I'm going to still be standing. And I think that's such a mentality because that we're going to go through so much. But if we're still standing, you've overcome those obstacles.
I love that. I saw a reel that you had posted recently where you were experimenting a little bit with AI. I also saw
Hmm.
a post where you did a shoot for Adobe UK
Hmm.
regarding some AI technology. As an artist, how do you feel about AI in the arts and how do you create with it?
All right.
If you create with it.
I do. I do. I do. I think AI is scary at the moment. Very scary. Because yes, when it first came out, I felt like, oh my God, that's it. My job's done. Nobody's going to ask me for
Mhm.
work. Everybody's going to turn to AI. Most of us don't realize is that we still need a human to add the prompts in. We still need artwork to work with it. Now, working with Adobe was interesting because I found out a lot more. So I think for me personally and how I use it as an artist is that it's an assistant. It can enhance something or it can make it really bad because it's not 100% yet. So I use AI as an assistive tool. So if it's something where I have to expand the artwork and trial some of the AI tools that we use, I will trial it and see how it works. But it's more of an assistive tool than actually it being a creative tool because it still needs that input of artistry in there.
Right. It doesn't
Um,
create something from scratch. It's taking
it's using,
something
well,
that
it's,
already exists,
yeah. That's
if
right,
that's
yeah. So it's
correct.
not 100%. So it's trying its best. So Adobe have come to a point now where it's using Adobe stock, which is everything that it owns in its Adobe art portfolio when it comes to photos, videos, illustrations, text, and then using that. So it's not using images from Google or anybody else's artwork. But
Sure.
there was a case that came up recently where anybody who signed up to Adobe, that they have some sort of overview of your work. They won't use it for
Mm.
AI, but they have an overview of your work. They want to police and govern your work. It's coming to a point where it's like that. But that's because of safeguarding, because there's the bad stuff that happens on the net with AI
Yeah.
and stuff that people create with it as well. I've got nothing against that part of the industry. I think it's the misleading stuff that people put out there and what the prompts that they do put in there to create some of this stuff, because I still think that's a different form of art.
Yeah.
that's being created, but there is the bad part that people are using it for. So that's why they're governing that as well. But as an artist, they still need artists to work in the background. I think it was Secret Invasion with Sam Jackson, where they
Mhm.
had an AI intro on there. It's messy and they're still working on it. And they still needed humans in the background to write those prompts to get to that creative level. We're still at the beginning phase of this. I know it's been a couple of years already. I still think we're at the beginning phase yet. We still haven't got to that moment where it's Skynet and it's going to take over and we will lose our jobs. They won't, because now we're coming to a point now where they need prompt artists. So they need people who can write prompts to create those images or create those videos. And while I've been messing around with it, prompts are so hard to do as a creative. I already have a bad time processing information as it is. Reading comic books with imagery works better because I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
So
Same here.
when I'm reading a book, I sometimes would have it on Audible, so I'm listening to somebody reading it for me, which works out. But sometimes I do have the span to read through it, depending on how the information relays back to me. AI works kind of in the same sort of ways. It's going to assist people, and the prompts are very hard. They're not easy. I've tried several times. I did a cosplay Joker about, I think we're coming up to like 15 years ago, and it was amazing what it did, but it's not perfect. It doesn't look like me towards the end. The
Sure.
cigarette goes off the screen as well. But it's an amazing thing that it can turn flat 2D image of a photo that was taken almost 15 years ago, probably on a 5 megapixel camera, to what we get now. It was amazing to see that. It still shocks me to this day that what technology can do now compared to what we were doing back then. I mean, I was doing
Mhm.
stop motion animation to try and create things like that. So
Yeah.
we have come a far way, but I'm 50-50 with
Yeah.
it. So I use it as an assistive tool, but I don't use it in all of my work. As an artist, when I'm drawing, I'm creating those backgrounds. I'm drawing the trees, I'm drawing the buildings, I'm drawing the
Mhm.
characters. So that's how I've been learnt how to do it when it comes to artwork. With AI, I think it can just expand it a little bit more. And I think for research, it's actually really good. I feel like you could do storyboards and it will help you lay out your images, your body autonomy, your facial structures, and there's so much to it, but it's going to be 50-50 for now for me. Only used as an assistive tool, but some people are totally against it. And I'm on the fence with them as well because I can understand as a creative, you feel like my jobs are going to be taken. But if you've seen recently, nobody's jobs have actually gone from it. People still want individuality in artwork. They want a
Mhm.
piece of you in their artwork. There's a reason why they follow you. It's because they want a
Right.
piece of you in that artwork. When I buy a piece from Jim Lee or Todd McFarlane. I know I'm buying the artwork, but I'm buying a part of. It's weird to say. I think the Native Americans was saying that when you take a photo, you lose your soul in that photo with it. And I feel like that's with art as well. You're giving a piece of your blood and sweat, tears into that piece of artwork, and then you give it over.
Mm,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah.
that
So,
ties into what you were mentioning earlier, how drawing for you is very emotional. You are
hmm
able to translate your experience directly to the
that's right.
paper. Like you said, AI is not perfect, and I agree with you. It's more of an assist than it is
hmm
heavily 100% reliant on the creation of something. Speaking of your cosplays, I did see the Wolverine moment. I've seen the Star Wars Jedi. Both look great.
Thank
Are
you.
we ever gonna get another cosplay moment from you? And if so, who?
Oh man, this one's a hard one. So I used to cosplay 15, 16 years ago. That was like Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Logan and Doctor Strange. I did a lot. I saw myself in those characters.
Yes.
The arrogantness, the stubbornness that they have. I had that when I was that age and I related to that a lot more. And then again, I think after that 10, 15 years ago, I stopped cosplaying because I felt kind of like I didn't still feel my place in the world and where I was as a person as well. I ended up hiding behind these characters, but I wasn't. I loved those characters and it was me, but I was conflicted at that time. So I think it was like a couple of years after I was working for a photo shop where they sold cameras and we developed film and met a couple of friends there that were good photographers and they were like, look, I can see that you still got it in you let's do a couple of cosplay shoots with you. So that's when I did the Joker. We shot that in our rooftop, which was amazing. And then I did Logan again. I think that was about 8 years ago. We have a good community here that I usually see at the premieres and the red carpet, and the outfits are amazing. And it really inspired me to do the Anakin Jedi, when Star Wars celebrations happened in the UK. And I was like, I give it my own touch. As I got older, I can't do boots and shoes no more. So I gave it my own look. So I had my kicks on it.
Yes.
I wanted to be comfortable. That confidence thing was to come back again to wear this, because sometimes, as much as cosplaying is a great community, there is a dark side to it as well. I know you've probably gone through some of the dark sided part of it and the negative side of it, but I really enjoyed it 100%. It was such a great feeling. And a lot of people, when they come out and say, can we take a picture and the rest of it, it was like such a humbling moment again. And if I was going to do another character again, oof. Actually, I forgot to say I did Michael J. Fox. I'm a big fan of Michael J. Fox. I did Marty McFly from Back to the Future too. I got my
Yes.
hoverboard up here, my Nike mags, and my little puffer
Hmm.
jacket. So I've done that a couple of times as well. So if I was to do it again, I want to do, it's a weird one, very weird, not a weird one. I'm going to do Clint Eastwood. I would do Fistful of Dollars. I want to put the pancho and the hat on, and I want to show my dad that we can be cowboys too.
Let's go, Kibla. And I'm sure he would appreciate it. As
Oh,
artists,
definitely.
whether your dad wants to admit that he loves the arts, especially, cosplay is performance art. And I
Yeah.
just love that you don't have a limit when it comes to your self-expression. It's fabulous, very
Mm,
inspiring as well. I would
thank
say
you. Thank you.
your style is versatility. You know,
Yep. That's right. That's right.
you're a
Exactly
chameleon of
that.
the
Exactly that.
arts.
Yeah, exactly that.
You just touched on premieres and events. I have noticed that you get a lot of invites from Warner Brothers UK, Paramount
Hmm.
UK, DC UK, Disney, just to name a few, to attend various events. How do these press opportunities, screenings, and partnerships come about?
So me and my brother started a podcast, I think it's about 8, 9 years ago. And it was on my art channel on YouTube. So basically when he moved abroad, he had the idea, because we lost contact, to be honest, and that happens with friends, family. Once you move a certain distance, you see people less, the time gets wider. You do a call every day, call a week, call a month, call every 6 months.
Yeah.
Friendships kind of die out in that way, and brotherhood, familyhood, sisterhood kind of dies out, and you're like, how do we get this back? And my brother had an idea. He loves Joe Rogan. He loves Joe Rogan podcast. Was inspired by that, and we went on Skype. And what we talked about is the stuff we love, which was comic books and movies. And Marvel was coming to the end of its era in Phase 3 with Infinity Wars and Endgames. And we started talking about that. And we were doing it on my art channel. So we didn't think it was going to make any traction, to be honest. It was just me and my brother geeking out and two
Mhm.
guys talking about stuff they love. And eventually, that's when brand partnerships started coming in. We started working with Logitech. We were using Logitech kit. We still use Logitech kit on our podcast. I think it was Warner Brothers. Actually, you know what? It was a person named Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel. So he took me to an event. I think it was Batman Ninja, which was the animation at Warner Brothers UK office. And from then, we've had some great opportunities. So he was the one who introduced us to that world. And then slowly, the podcast started growing. We started its own channel, YouTube channel 3 years ago, and its own social media platforms 2 years ago. And it's slowly growing into something wonderful. When we went on to like Spotify and Amazon Play and Apple Podcasts, that we noticed that it started growing around the world as well. It was weird, Singapore, Tokyo, we had a good crowd there. The Middle East, we have a really
Mhm.
good crowd. We're really big in like Spain and Portugal, Brazil and Mexico and certain parts of the States. We're not actually really big in the UK. It's actually kind of a worldwide thing,
Sure.
which is actually nice to see so many communities come together and listen to us and kind of go from there. And that's how the deal, well, not really deals, but the invites as press. I actually like to do the interviews with the guys that work behind the scenes. So we have
Right.
producers and
Writers,
directors and
directors.
writers. Yes,
Yes.
that's me all day because I love the process of putting something together. So I know that recently we got to speak to Lorenzo and Josh from Transformers One.
Yes.
I request the guys in the background. I want to talk to the guys in the background as much as I love the people on the forefront, which is going to be the actors.
But you
The
have
guys.
interviewed an actor here and there.
Yes, on
correct?
the odd occasion.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. On the odd occasion, yes, definitely. But mostly it's always been the guys in the background. I mean, my first proper one was with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh no, his name's gone right out of my head. How embarrassing.
It's all good.
Sorry, the right.
I'll
So he's a
insert the
storyboard.
edit. You let me know what it is and I'll put the name on
Oh
the
my God,
screen.
that's gonna be embarrassing. Oh my God, and he'll kill me as well. And it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles director Mutant Mayhem, which was
Yes.
absolutely amazing. And to get that opportunity to sit and go through the process, talk about storyboards, talk about art as well, talk about cinema in general, opened up the floodgates of getting to speak to people in the creative background, which has been an absolutely amazing journey in itself. It's amazing to get the invites. I'm still humbled by them. I'm still that everyday kid that
Sure.
still loves pop culture, and the fact that I've been pleasured enough to walk the red carpet or watch something really early or ask my opinion on a movie. Like, I think we saw The Batman 2 months before it came out.
Wow.
Yeah, we saw it 2 months before it came out, and then they used my quote on a billboard. They used my quote on a billboard, which is just mind blowing. I still cannot fathom that happened. I remember
That's
trying to find the
amazing.
billboard because everybody was messaging me saying, Kibla, is that your name on that board? They were tagging me on Facebook. School friends that I haven't spoken to in like 20 years were getting in contact with me saying, is that your name on that billboard? And I was like, yes, it is. And it was so funny that it was on a poster of the Riddler because in school, my name, my MC name was Kibla the Riddler.
Stop.
The universe is amazing, right?
Yes.
The
Oh my
universe is amazing.
goodness.
Don't get me wrong, the Riddler in this one was a horrible, horrible villain. It's amazing to see that. I think it was because I grew up with Jim Carrey Riddler, which I absolutely
Yeah,
love and adore still. That's how the nickname came along because I was a bit of a clownster in school as well. But
sure.
amazing opportunities have come out where it's like really precious moments that will hopefully inspire people to say that you can do amazing things without even knowing that it's going to be in your path because there are going to be some things in your path. It's unexpected, right? It's like love. When love hits you, it's unexpected and it's
Mhm.
overwhelming. And you're like, oh my God, this is actually really happening. And then your reality changes for a little while and you'll get a little bit dopamine feed in the process as well. You know, a little bit of the highs there. But I always say the little goals and the unexpected little goals that come out of nowhere are the ones that are going to keep going towards the main. It's the journey. Bruce Lee said it the best. It's the journey. Enjoy the journey. There's always going to be the end goal, but enjoy that journey. Enjoy that journey.
Hmm.
Yeah.
1000%. I really love how you put that. Do you have any advice to cosplayers or anyone in the geek community, if you will, who want to cross over into kind of that mainstream entertainment realm of
Hmm.
things?
Persevere, endure. It's hard work. It's not easy. Remember, these are not paid jobs as well. Unless you've got a brand deal
Sure.
with the PR company or anything like that, or you're working with a tech group, a lot of the work's not paid, guys. So keep that in mind. It is hard work till you get those brand deals, till you get those deals where you've
Right.
got companies paying you because they want you to be there or want you to be using the product. But any advice is to really push through. You know what? There's no actually solid advice, I would say. You've just got to really love what you do. I'm an artist. I love comic books. I didn't realize that I would come to a point where I'm doing a podcast now, and now we're classed as press and journalists. I was like, how did that work out? So it's like
Sure.
stumbled across these industries. My work background, I've always been in sales, and then I got into marketing in the past 10 years.
Mhm.
And I've been in marketing. I left my job 3 months ago to start my own business. So I
Wow.
do freelance artistry and do workshops, but I just stumble across things and I try it and I give it a go. They're going to fail. It fails. I move on to the next thing. I'm going to have my moments of doubt, which I do every day. But, you know, the universe, if you have faith, if you believe in religion as well, if you have a faith, if you believe in yourself, you're capable of doing so much coolness. And without you knowing it, you'll stumble across different things that you actually enjoy. So like me going to a screening early, oh my God, I've been watching movies from day dot. You know,
Mhm.
1983. Here we go. Back to the Future is my most favorite movie in the world. You know, that stumbled across from me doing artwork, inspiring me and falling in love with a time machine DeLorean that ended up making me meet most of the cast. It's
Wow.
insane, the journey. You have to put that work in. You have to really adore and love what you do and believe in it. Believe in it. I think that's what people forget. The belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're talented or not. I think the belief in yourself, because you could do it. You can honestly do it. There's no advice. I think there's no solid advice. We get all of these motivational videos, and I try and motivate people in the process with my workshops.
Hmm.
But it is down to you because it's tiring sometimes. You know, you got 3 screenings a week. You got to do reviews. You got to do the content. Remember, I'm a family man as well, so I've got to make time for the
Right.
family as well. And I work 2 jobs. I'm doing the freelance art, and I'm working in the evenings, busting my chops. There's something edging me on, and I think each and every one of us have that in us. Robin Williams said we have a little bit of spark in us. It's what you do with that spark. And I think we all have it in us, but we just don't illuminate it as much as we should.
Sure. In regards to what you just mentioned, do you think you have honestly a healthy work-life balance? No.
I have tried that for years.
A lot of blessings, a lot of great things, of course, but you sound like a very busy man.
Well, trust me, I didn't think I'd be this busy at this age. I thought after you're 40, you kind of slow down and wind down. We started a photo booth business where we do occasions, parties, birthdays, engagements, weddings.
Fun.
It's hard. You've got to put the time in, but there are days. It's a struggle. It's very hard. You know, you're affecting your mental health. You're not getting enough sleep. I mean, I'm racking up probably 5 to 6 hours if I'm lucky in sleep.
Mm.
But then I've got a 16-hour day ahead of me. So it's like, how do I push through to that? And that's the loved ones around you that give you that motivation to kind of push through. You know, a kiss
Mhm.
from my little girl or a smile will change me dramatically. And that's weird that I run off that because some people use substances, some people drink. You could drink coffee as well and be addicted to coffee to keep them
Mhm.
going. I do have a coffee addiction, though. I do like my coffee.
Sure.
Uh,
Same
uh,
here.
it's busy and I've tried. I always say life work balance, life work balance. So in
Mm.
the process, I've realized I do have a life work balance, but it is hectic. So my life with my family, my life with my loved ones, my life with the stuff I love does actually take over most of my work life. So I don't actually work that many work hours. I'll be honest. I probably actually work 5 to 6 hours a day,
Mm.
but it's how constructive you are with the timing. And I'm a person who suffers dyslexia, information
Mhm.
overload. I'm messy, not organized one bit. I pretend to be organized. I pretend to be organized, but I'm not. I'm messy. I forget things. I have to write everything down. Reminders on a mobile phone doesn't work for me because I'm a visual learner. So I have to see it in front
Yeah.
of me. I have a calendar up with my calendar filled up of the dates and what I'm doing. And then I make
Mhm.
sure I liaise with the rest of the family about what's happening, when I can see you, what's happening, what we can do, and go from there. But I feel like road runners sometimes, and I'll have my days where I crash, you know. I'll
Sure.
have a day where I crash. And I think I had that on Sunday, just this Sunday, yeah. I got in at probably about 1 a.m., sat down for a moment. I've been watching House, so I'm catching up on House. I don't know how I got
What a
involved in House,
throwback.
but
Yeah.
I got back into House again. Well, I never saw it. I watch an episode before I go bed just to kind of unwind.
Yeah.
But it really keeps me engaged. I don't know why, but I watch it. But anyway, probably got to bed about 2 o'clock. And then I woke up Sunday at, I think it was 11, 12 o'clock. I haven't woken up at that time in probably 6, 7 months. I've been on the go.
Wow.
So I'll have my days where I'll just crash and I need that time to recuperate, rest, don't do anything. I think I watched TV the whole day, had some good food in the process. Be kind to myself, be selfish to myself.
Hmm.
I'm back on the hustle bustle again. I'll have my moments. It's hard work. Life work balance is very hard, but you have to find it in your own way. So everybody will work differently. I think me trying to give advice and opinion on that is it's not in my place to be. I can only tell you what I do, to be honest. Yeah.
Sure.
But look after yourself and be kind. Oh, so important.
And don't be afraid to take a rest when you need it. We all have to recharge our battery.
Mm, exactly. So your body will tell you. Your body will tell you. Like I probably suffer 8 to 9 burnouts a year.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's when I need that day to myself. And I think yesterday was that day. Oh, you're gonna come to burnout, Kibbs. Sit down and just enjoy it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you allow yourself to do that. I know plenty of people in my life who try to push through the feelings of burnout and
Mm.
fatigue and exhaustion. And I think that does more harm than good,
100%, 100%.
you
You have
know.
to know yourself. You have to know yourself. And the thing is, as you said, we're learning every day. We learn
Mhm.
something new about ourselves, our surroundings every day. So once you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm done. Because as a teenager, as an adult, partying so much can only lead to one thing, and that's lack of sleep and your body not recovering properly. Yes,
Mhm.
younger years, that's helpful. But as you get older, you're like, all right, 11 o'clock, I'm done. That's it. 10 o'clock, I'm done. I'm ready to go. Kids, you've only stayed there that long. I was like, bro, I know my limit. That's it. I'm
Yes.
done. Peace and love, guys. Enjoy the rest of the night. I'm out. You have to know yourself. I think the important part is knowing yourself. And I think through meditation, through yoga, it's really helped me. I suffer chronic pain. I've suffered chronic pain for 7, 8 years now because
Oh,
of my
that's
lower back.
right.
Nice. It's a part of my journey. But yoga and meditation has helped me ascend myself to a point where I can overburden that pain without medication, which I've had to have medication now because it's shooting down my legs. But I still
Mm.
stretch. I still use meditation to kind of get me through the day and make me forget. That's my moment to myself. That's my selfish moment to myself, to look after myself, to forgive myself in the process because we're going to burden ourselves with so much. And think about it. You're not talking about just work. You're talking about
Mhm.
doing your creativity. You're talking about your family life. You're talking about your mental health. You're talking about what I have to do on a day-to-day basis to survive. I've got my bills. I've got my mortgage. I've got all of this. And, it all kind of piles up. And then you're like, all right, I need to have my Doctor Strange moment and have my out of body experience and just go away for a moment. So it's
Absolutely.
important, very important.
I love that. I wanted to circle back to some of your industry experience. Of course, with
Hmm.
coming to these events, press opportunities, screenings, you have met quite a few celebrities, talented people, of course.
Hmm.
When was the last time you felt nervous or starstruck around a celebrity?
Michael J. Fox.
Mm.
Michael J. Fox was an absolute moment for me. I don't think I'll ever forget that day. I don't think I'll ever forget that day. I'm going to give you a quick background story on this. So he's coming to the UK. It's the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future. I think it's like the second or third time ever since he got diagnosed with Parkinson's that he's coming to the UK, and he's coming to a Comic Con. So I'm buying tickets. The website crashes. I never got to get the ticket. It was sold out. And then 2 weeks later, the show I check on like websites like StubHub and eBay, tickets are going for like $3,000, $4,000. And I'm like, oh, I'm never going to meet Michael J. Fox. Oh, absolutely gutted. What happens after that is that a friend of a friend that works for a magazine got in contact with me and said, I saw you did an art piece for the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future. How would you like to meet Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox? And I was like, oh my God, how is this happening right now?
Right.
I got to meet Michael J. Fox that day, which was absolutely amazing. I hardly know this other person as well. So it's amazing that he saw my artwork and he said, I want to take you because I think you're going to be great with Michael J. Fox. I got to meet Michael J. Fox and it was like an insane moment. I was so nervous and he was like thanking me. He kept on thanking me. And I was like, Michael, I'm thanking you for what you did for me because you inspired me in so many ways. And it's
Mhm.
not even that, it's what you've done for Parkinson's as well. Like it's an amazing journey. And he goes, no, it's because of you guys. I still get to do this. I still
Mm.
get to relive the moments I had in Back to the Future and talk to you guys and how much it means to you to fall in love with Back to the Future. So that was a starstruck moment. That was a very nervous moment. The other nervous moment was meeting Michael Caine. When I
Mm.
met Michael Caine, oh my God, Sir Michael Caine, when I met him, I was working in this photography shop and he was buying a camera for his daughter and I was like shaking while I was serving him. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, my God, you're Alfred. Yeah, Alfred. That's all I could think of. And he was like, don't worry, take your time. And he was very kind, very, very kind, very cool. And then The Rock, meeting The Rock, watching him in wrestling, and then to be surprised like that, and then to have such a moment to just have a laugh and talk to him and speak to him about Black Adam and his passion behind what he does. He's a people's person as well. It worked really well. I only saw the wrestling Rock. When he came in front of me, I saw the wrestling Rock. I'll always be nervous. Even meeting the Reeves family. Oh my God. I met the Reeves family. If I was to meet anybody else, it would have been Stanley, Christopher Reeves. It would have been them. Meeting the Reeves family was an insane moment. Oh my God. Alexandra, Matthew, and Will. That was emotional because the documentary is so emotional as well. We just saw it. We were speaking to the
Mhm.
directors, and then suddenly they surprised us with meeting the Reeves family. I think I almost cried after. I kept on holding my heart, thinking, oh my
Mm.
God, I've had such an amazing, humbling experience, and I'm still having these moments right now. Same thing, I met Jim Lee a couple of years ago at the Birds of Prey Margot Robbie, oh my God. Rosie Perez. Okay, I shouldn't say this too loud, but Rosie Perez was my 80s crush from White Man Can't Jump. And
Hmm.
to meet her face to face, oh my God, it's unreal. Like, I still have the kid in me that
Yes.
really jumps out at these moments. I think being nervous, there's nothing wrong with that. It means you love what you do. You love what you want to put out there. You love the person that inspired you in those moments as well. So, like, I love doing interviews. I love being in those moments and being nervous as well because it makes me know that I still love this stuff.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
absolutely. I think
yeah.
that's incredible. And I'm just so happy for you. I'm proud of you.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Everything you've achieved, everything you're going to achieve. While scrolling your Instagram, I did find a headshot that your friend Adam took. Didn't know if it was a professional headshot, an acting headshot. I know you said earlier that you're more interested in the behind the scenes work.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried your hand at acting? And if not,
Oof.
would you?
I think deep down inside, I wanted to be an actor. And because of the encouragement I didn't get in my younger years, I didn't pursue it. I love the camera. Is that vain to say?
No.
To be honest, he was practicing with his camera and he was like,
Yeah,
Kibbs, you've had a nice haircut and a shave. You're looking like Tony Stark. Why not take some really nice photos?
it's a great
So
shot.
thank you. It's actually my favorite shot. That was like 10, 12, 11 years ago. It was really cool. He got some really good photos that night. And I think I've always wanted to be an actor and I didn't really pursue it. But funny enough, I've had some cameos. So there's a couple of films that I
Hmm.
could say. There's a movie called Legacy that I did a cameo in. Well, not a cameo. I was an extra. Why am I saying cameo? Marvel, you guys have ruined me. I'm an extra in the background as a bit of a stereotypical role, but it was a restaurant. I was working in an Indian restaurant telling the guy, like, come and wash the dishes, wash the dishes.
Ah,
So, and that was with, oh no, my God, my mind's gone, but we'll get the actor's name. But he played Firestorm in DC Legends of Tomorrow.
gotcha. I'll insert it
Uh,
here, Kib, don't worry.
I'm so bad with names, honestly.
You're okay.
I did a little short film called Bobble, which is on YouTube. I was production manager on the set, making sure everything runs right. And then there was a moment where none of the actors turned up, and I was the only guy there with a beard. And they were like, you have to wear an eye patch and you have to be this angry dude, which actually kind of worked out really well. It was played at the Sundance Film Festival, project I'm really proud of to be production manager on because I know how much hard work goes into putting something like that together. And there's a film that's coming out maybe next year. It's a short film called Punching Bag, which I was a part of. It was actually an episode talking to Michael Adji about why he does boxing. And a director watched that, got inspired, didn't know that they were actually friends as well. And then 2 years later down the line, we did a Kickstarter, a podcast episode that inspired a movie being made, a short movie being made, which has been filmed, and I got to do a little part in that, and hopefully that comes out next year. You never
Fabulous. I
know.
can't wait
As I
to
said, I've still
watch.
got time to learn. You never know.
Absolutely. And as we just talked about earlier, it's never too late to try something new. Go
Yeah.
get a new headshot, print out that resume. Kib, let's go. Line up on those cattle calls. You already have some connections in the industry. We'll
That's
get it
true. That's so
going.
true.
You have two daughters, Alara and Nia.
Yep.
What is it like being a girl dad times two?
It's emotional sometimes. It's really emotional. They're absolutely beautiful. They're like radiant little angels in front of me every time. It's amazing. It is hard. Parenting is not easy. There are moments where you're like, oh my God, what's going on? You're trying to understand things at the same time, and it's information overload from their side and information overload from me as well. But
Hmm.
being a girl dad, oh my God. I didn't think I'd be a girl dad. I thought I'd have boys, to be honest. I'm
Sure.
so boyish, but looks like I still have a feminine side to myself. It's good. It's fine. I'm happy. I wanted good, healthy kids. Doesn't matter where, boy or girl, whatever they become later on in life, just healthy babies. But give me the joy of love again in a different format. It's an amazing experience and it's an amazing journey to women that have babies. Oh my God. You guys are super women, honestly. That is insane. You have another human being growing inside of you. You have to deliver this human being. Oh my
Yes.
God. It is insane. The power that somebody has, like my wife. Oh my God. My beautiful wife. My beautiful wife. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You are my superwoman. You are my rock. You're my angel. Honestly, when she delivered Alara, she did gas and air. She didn't take no nothing. She breathed that baby out, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, that's insane. She's not a social media person, so
Sure.
I try and respect her wishes when it comes to stuff like that. Even when it comes to covering the kids' eyes, she has a strong belief in the bad eye and the rest of it, so I'm going to
Yeah.
respect that as well. Met Shanaz about 8 years ago, 5 years just after my first divorce. So she has been a game changer in my life and the way I see life as well. An absolutely caring, beautiful person. Ooh, I couldn't have asked for anything better. But somebody outside the box as well, because compared to what I got the first time around, definitely a different experience. And the understanding of love can come in different forms, in different ways, and acceptance as well. Because being divorced the first time around, it takes two people to tango. So both are blamed. There's not one blame there. Both are to
Sure.
blame. And I always blame myself for that as well. And it was hard to get back into relationships and seeing people again. And then I'm coming from an Islamic background as well. So dating a bit of unheard of scene. It could be a sin and the rest of it. So we did everything halal, as they say. But she's amazing. She's got great taste in music, very passionate. She's a creative as well. She doesn't like to show that off like I do. She's a wonderful mother. She's a wonderful mother. Oh my God. Absolutely amazing.
I'm so
Yeah,
happy
it's been
for
great.
you.
Thank you so much.
Sounds
Thank you so much.
fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can get convoluted in all of the stuff that happens around us, but it is taking that moment to kind of like, this is the vision right now. Keep an eye on that picture. As much as we enjoy the journey, it's like sometimes we've got that person or that thing right in front of us and we don't want to see it because we are chasing and chasing things that sometimes maybe be unachievable. I don't say it's not achievable, but sometimes, yeah, some things are not going to work out. My first marriage was horrible. I didn't even realize what I got myself into, but it was just the time and I wasn't mature enough and it wasn't my time. I had to go
Mhm.
through that to learn about myself. She's absolutely amazing. She supports me in everything, even my silly kiddish things like Legos and hot toys and Funko Pops and,
Yes.
but she knows how much it means to me. And I think that's where having somebody have that sort of understanding about what you love and what they love, and you meet in the middle. That's like true harmony at its best. Raising up the kids as well. It's an amazing experience.
It sounds like she accepts you exactly as you are, and I think that's really vital
100%.
for a
Yeah.
healthy
Both of us. And
relationship.
we both do. We both do. She's a talker. She's a talker. She wants to know everything. I've never been a man of detail, but I do my best with her and she accepts it and it works. I didn't even think that you could be so vulnerable and so intimate in that way that you can let go and cry and try and understand the situation and not have somebody judge you because you're doing that. And I think she's
Yeah.
really opened me up when it comes to that. My mental health, as much as it has been damaged with a lot of stuff recently, she keeps me on my toes. She brings me back to reality. And I
Hmm.
need that because I
Yeah.
get far-fetched, you know. I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. I love comic books. I love artwork. You know, I can look at a canvas for 3 hours and not do anything. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, just staring into the distance.
I think your journey with love is very relatable. It's something that I can definitely relate to.
Yeah.
My boyfriend that I have now, I think is the best, happiest, healthiest relationship I've been in. And
Mm,
like you, I've had some tumultuous times
mm,
and some turbulence. And even now, despite my relationship status, I have a lot of friends who are struggling to
mm.
date, navigate, find love. They're feeling discouraged. They're getting their hearts broken. What is your advice on keeping your heart open to finding love again?
It just happens. It just happens. We sat in a coffee shop. We spoke about music. We were having hot chocolate. It just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens. That was our first meeting. It just happens. That one connection to music, I have a lifetime with them now. And we have two beautiful daughters in the process. So it's
Yes.
like, there's no advice for it. We've seen so many rom-coms and the love stories, and even in comic books, the
Yeah.
trials and tribulations. There's not actually one thing that actually just kind of binds you to it. I didn't think after my first divorce I'm going to find somebody, not Shanaz as well. I didn't think I was going to find somebody outside of the box, somebody that I would never pick as well. It's weird. Like when they say opposites attract, it's true, but we do have common ground on things, but somebody that I don't think I would normally pick. And I gave it a chance. And I think sometimes if you just give something a chance, you
Yeah.
never know what comes out of it. But be prepared. Guards are always going to be up, and love is never easy. It's
Mm-hmm.
so hard. It's so hard sometimes. And, even in a healthy relationship, you're going to have arguments. You're going to have disagreements. How do you meet in the middle? How do you understand to work together? I don't think I would have anything that I have got now if we didn't work together as a team to get a house, to get money through the door, to have two beautiful kids, to have memories, to have cherished moments. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's just from my experience, but everybody will have a different journey. I think chance, giving something a chance, because that's the same thing with opportunities. When you open doors of opportunities, you're going to have to walk through one of them, and one of them is going to be a chance to something great, or it's going to be something horrible. But you have to give that chance a go. You have to put that first foot forward and kind of say, all right, I'm going to give this a go and see what happens. But you have to have good intent, right? I think the problem is now we're in a very, very fast society where everything is instant and I want it
Instant
now, I want it now, I want
gratification.
it now, I want it
Yeah.
now. You can't see it that way. You've got to see the long game and how you're going to work this out because if you're going to pick a lifetime partner, sometimes it's going to be a good pick, sometimes it's going to be a bad pick and you maybe have to start all over again. But once you pick that one, because we're both not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
we are both broken in our own ways. It's how we pick each other up, put ourselves together to make that work. So I think that's like so key. So take that chance. Be cautious. We live in a dangerous time at the moment as well. I'm scared.
Totally.
I've got two girls as a girl daddy, and I know they're going to go through loads of heartbreak. But I want to be there for them. I want to try and keep an
Mm-hmm.
open relationship as well, regardless of what happens.
Yeah,
Got to be there. But
absolutely.
yeah, as I said, yeah, there you go. A bit of Kib's. Oh my God. I've never spoken about it. I do speak about it to like friends and family, but
Mm-hmm.
she's made me feel open and confident enough to speak about her. She should be spoken in that way.
Yeah.
I'll respect her wishes because sometimes she said, don't mention me, don't say anything. But I think this time around, she deserves it. She deserves the kudos for that.
I agree. It sounds like a really wonderful and truly life-changing relationship. We
Yeah.
touched on the impact of love, of healthy love, and I completely agree with you in terms of your open-minded approach, having courage
Hmm.
that bleeds into everything you do in your life, of course, trying new
Exactly.
art forms, trying new things with your career, obviously relationships, and teamwork as well. My boyfriend and I, we always say that, we're a team. We're in this
Yeah.
together. And that is so crucial that
Hmm.
you and your partner have that common goal and are willing to equally put in the work to achieve it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it is not always easy. And I would love to know, in terms of that family dynamic, how has fatherhood changed you?
I'm more resilient, more strong,
Mm.
but I cry all the time now.
I love crying. I'm very sensitive, Kim.
We grew up in a 80s and 90s sort of masculinity. You have to be strong. You don't talk about your feelings. My parents
Mm.
didn't talk about their feelings, so we grew up in that same way. But I think it's made me a bit more softer. Alara knows when I'm having a hard day and she'll ask me, Dad, give me a cuddle. Stuff like that. As a father, it's changed me dramatically. I know my priorities and I know where they are. For them, I'll drop anything. Yes, big opportunities are going to come my way, but my daughter's not feeling well. I'm not going to go. I'm just going to chill with them and I make sure that I'm going to be there because we have to work as a team. It's hard
Yeah,
enough. You trying to look after one kid, trying to look after two.
I can
Uh,
only imagine.
I work in the evenings. Wifey will work during the day. We split the responsibility. I pick them up, bathe them, have them ready for school, bring them back, feed them, and then get to work, whatever I do. It's changed me. I feel like it's made me much more stronger as a person as well. A bit more resilient. Somebody says something behind me, it doesn't really bother me. You get the snark remarks on comments and the rest of it, and it's like, it's not for you anyway. Really,
Right.
truly. It's all right if you like it, but for you to take your time to say something negative on it, thank you very much. Don't worry, it doesn't bother me. If it didn't inspire you or didn't motivate you in some sort of way, then we didn't connect.
Right.
The most important part is if I can connect in that sort of way. And fatherhood has taught me so much. It's taught me so much. Taught me a lot of patience.
Hmm.
A lot of patience. Sleep deprivation. Oh my God.
Sure.
You can never get used to not having enough sleep, but to have a kind of approach to not having that much sleep because you could be really angry at one point because you're tired, you're angry, and you say, it's because I'm tired, I said that. It's having that control. And I remember
Mm.
my daughter gave me a card saying that thank you for all the times that you woke up at night to change my nappy, to look after me, to clean my vomit, to change my clothes, and you never got angry in any of those moments.
Mm.
And that was like the moment of, I'm kind of proud that I didn't get angry in those moments and that I actually absolutely adore these kids and do anything for them and have that patience that God has bestowed on me. Having little messages like that.
You have taken Alara to several events,
Hmm.
Elemental, Transformers
Yes.
1.
Yes.
What is it like sharing those moments with your children?
Oh, it's insane. I was waiting for that. I was like, oh, I want to take my daughter to one of these. She's just like me. She's so creative. I'll have to show you some artworks up on the wall. I
Mhm.
encourage her to put every piece of artwork up on the wall so that she admire it or she can learn from it. She's so
Yeah,
amazing. 6 years old. She's going to be 6 years old and she's amazing at what she does. But I've taken her to those premieres, some of the events that they put together. She has an imagination of herself. I think Paw Patrol is her favorite one,
sure.
and she was like in aura and she was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Really took into it. I did take her to If, which was Ryan Reynolds' one, which was an absolutely amazing movie, and she really loved that as well, about being creative and about having imagination. And it's
Mhm.
inspiring them. Elemental was another nice one. She watches that because it's a good story about immigrants coming over trying to do something for their kids. And it's
Mhm.
weird for them to understand that story as well. I feel like as a kid, when I was that age, I didn't know what was going on. I feel like they're more intact with what's happening and how they absorb information as well. And I suppose what they see us do. My kids, when they saw me draw a canvas, they want pieces of papers and pencils in front of them. So they'll join in and they want to be an adult like me. But I keep telling them, be a kid. I'm never going to force anything upon you. Like,
Sure.
do whatever you want to do. I do not want to impose harsh regimes on you or anything. You're a kid. Run
Mhm.
around, get some mud on you, drop, understand the meaning of falling and getting back up. Little things like that. But taking them to them premieres is like, oh, it is a delightful moment because that's me as a kid. I'm living my life through their eyes and
Mhm.
seeing her jump with joy or get involved in the photos, her cute poses. I don't know where she gets them from. It's a delightful moment as a parent, as a father, that is lucky enough to get to go to some of these things and to be able to take my daughter on that journey as well. So that when she goes back and sees those photos, she'll be like, you know what? I remember I went to that with my dad.
Nia, I guess a little too young to attend these
Yes, not
events.
yet. Yeah, so she's about 18 months now. So
Oh,
yeah, 18 months. Yeah, she'll be
sweetheart. I
two
saw that
next
video
year.
you posted of her taking her first steps.
Oh my
An
God.
emotional moment.
Oh, such a delightful moment. Oh, amazing, amazing. She still amazes me. Both of them do, and they'll never get enough of Daddy seeing how amazing they are. They'll be like, "Oh, you're smothering me here right now." I think Alara's at a point now where she's like, "Dad, please, it's too much. You squeeze me when you cuddle me," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh, I know, I know. I need to kind of pull back on the love that I have for you guys." But Nia, yeah, she's amazing. She developed very quickly. I
sure.
think girls do anyway, but it's insane to see how quick she started wanting to walk. Language is a big thing before we had babies that we wanted to make sure we could communicate with them at such a
Yes.
young age. Sign language with them. They picked it up so quickly. It's amazing. Nia, she does this angry face, which always makes me laugh, but because she knows it's going to make me laugh, she kind of frowns like this and she puts her eyebrows down and she looks at me. And I'm like, she called me Baba, but she recently started calling me Daddy. So cute. It's like heartwarming. She'll
Yeah,
see me go off to work. If I don't work from home, I'll go somewhere to work. And we have these gates so that she don't go down the stairs or anything like that. She'll always give me a kiss between the railings, which is so cute. It's like, oh my God, I can't leave the house without that happening.
right.
Oh, she's adorable. We've started off early to go into nursery so she can develop more skills as well
Hmm.
and interact with other kids as well. Because we started the Laura off a bit late, and I feel like because we're both working full time, it's given them the time to kind of go develop. I want to be with them as much as I can. I do put a lot of time into them and give them that time. They deserve that time from me and Shanaz. So it's life. Beautiful moments, though. She's gorgeous. She's the funny one.
Yes.
Stubborn, very stubborn. She wants what she wants. If she doesn't get it, she'll get upset. I'm always chasing her around.
Sure. Is she
Yeah.
inheriting your stubbornness, you think?
And that's not mine. That's from the other side.
Ah.
I think I was stubborn in my early years after my 20s, but after that, no. Alara's got my sturdiness and my cheekiness and my patience, which is nice.
Sure.
Yeah. Nia's got definitely her mum's strength and stubbornness.
Mhm. Too funny. I did see that you took Alara to Mai Tai.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen your kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
With all of the creativity, the artistry, the martial arts, is it fair to assume that your daughters will follow in your footsteps, potentially?
maybe, but nothing forced upon them. They're going to find their own way. They're going to go
Yeah.
through their own struggles and battles and talents. Some talents may stick around. I didn't draw for like 15 years for it to suddenly come rushing back to me after going to Hong Kong. That's a
Hmm.
whole game changer there. So you never
Yeah.
know what path they go on, but I will never force them to do something that they don't want to do. Kids are going to draw. That's their creativity. That's their imagination. They're seeing daddy draw, mummy draw. Alara said, yes, I want to be an artist like daddy. But we don't know. Then she says she wants to be a nurse. She wants to help people. So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
they'll find their path. Whichever
Yes.
way they do, I'll support them 100% on anything they choose to go through, but I will not find a path for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely.
great. I love that you give them the space to be their own people and discover what drives them and makes them feel passionate and excited about life,
Yeah,
even at a
definitely.
young age. I think
Exactly.
that's
It has to be. It
incredible.
has to be.
You had mentioned something you love about creating and posting and sharing is the connection. Is
Hmm.
there any other reason, particularly how and why, did you become a content creator? Because I think we all, the ones who are creators, now kind of have that period where we go from just being a regular person posting online to this is my brand,
Yeah,
this is what I'm here to do. So could you kind of walk us through that experience?
definitely. I think I started about, I think again, 10, 12 years ago when Facebook started popping off properly. And then we had Facebook at the early stages, but it was just like personal posts. People were just trying to work out pictures, writing their thoughts down. I used to put movie quotes up. That's how I started, movie quotes on my personal page. And I used to do a lot of Photoshop artwork. I used to take a picture, put myself in the Matrix or something like that. I used to love Photoshop. Photoshop was like one of my favorite tools, which I love. I still love it now. I still love it now. I still love creating, manipulating photos and things like that. So
Yes.
I used to share that on Facebook and then kind of said, all right, I'm going to start my own page. So when I started drawing again after Hong Kong, I created my own page. So that was KiblaAhmedArt and I started that. Posted my art on there and then slowly posted parts of my life on there as well and my journey. And kind of just continued that really because it's kind of a mess of a timeline to be honest because I've got everything up on there. My work life, I've got my family life, my kids, my journey, my art journey. It's kind of just a mixture of everything. Creating content for 10 plus years now. I've been doing YouTube for 10 plus years now. So you
Mhm.
end up getting to understand the creative programs that you're using along the way and then you get better at it and you try
Yes.
different things. You try different effects, you add subtitles and then you get a HD camera on your phone and everything just looks amazing. Yes, you're trying to connect with people outside to kind of like what you do. I think we've come to a point now where we want to actually inspire others as well in the process. So
Yeah.
you're giving advice, you're giving tips. I think with my art workshops and the art content that I do is to inspire other artists to get into it, to try it, to give it a go, and kind of go from there and inspire them. I see it as a family album now with
Yeah.
all my achievements and goals and things I got to achieve. I shouldn't say everything's achievement. Some of them are memories. I look back at my own page just to see memories from 5 years ago, 6 years ago, which is
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's my photo album to go back to. It's my personal page. It's got everything on it. It's got my heart. It's my blood, my sweat and tears in there. I love it. And yes, I create content, but it's content that I actually enjoy watching myself as well. So I look back at it. I can be critical on how I explained a certain thing and if I said this wrong or did I offend anybody in that post. But you have to be safe towards yourself as well when you're doing it as well, because you're putting yourself out there. I
Hmm.
was that shy kid that loved comic and artwork, that sat in the back of the class, didn't want anybody else to know about it. Now I've come to a
Hmm.
point where it's all mainstream now.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I live in a world where it's mainstream. I don't have to be shy no more. I can let people know how much I love this stuff.
Yes.
And it's become like that. I think it's a great platform for people to share things that they love on there now. It
Yes.
does come with its downsides, but it's a marketing tool. So if you have a brand, it's perfect. You
Yeah.
can push your brand, you can push yourself as a brand, you can make deals, you can make money, definitely. Yeah. I think we're at an era now where you can go viral like that quickly. I've been in marketing for 10 years, I understand it. But remember, sometimes it may work and it may not work. So
Yeah.
there's posts that I've got millions of views on, but then you've got other posts that don't. Don't break yourself for that because what happens after is that you fall into a very deep rabbit hole of depression and dark thoughts. The algorithm is random. And if
Hmm.
you've got a large following, then yes, it's going to work. You're going to get the constant love. But I don't see my page as that. My page is actually more of an experimental page because I
Hmm.
do so much on there.
Yeah.
I have my podcast page, which is just fully focused on the podcast. But I had a little breakdown in Singapore about 3 years ago when my brother got married. I had to have a break. I stopped everything.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it because I got caught in that rabbit hole of I want the likes, I want the views. Why am
Yes.
I not getting it? I'm doing all this the right stuff, but it's not happening. And just realize that it is just so random.
It's
Uh,
not personal. We can't ping our
yeah,
self-worth
exactly.
to a bunch of metrics and numbers and
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
And personally, it's tough for me to remind myself to not do that. But as you're explaining with your own journey, it takes time. I've been a creator for almost 10 years as well. And
Yeah,
related to a lot of what you were just talking about, being experimental, sharing your personality, things that maybe you were shy or afraid to before, but now the
yeah.
landscape is totally different. And I too feel like I create more selflessly than not.
Hmm.
It's less about getting the likes and the comments and which are great. We always love the
Yeah,
love,
yeah, of
support, and the
course. Yeah.
feedback. But at the end of the day, I hope that I can inspire and help or reach or entertain, comfort whoever is enjoying what I'm putting out there for
I think
sure.
that's the most important part. And I think that's why we still do the podcast now.
Yeah.
Like, we're not a big podcast. People keep saying, Kibbs, you've done great things, but it's that one person who tells me they used to use substance, but they don't use it no more because they have fallen in love back with pop culture. That's an amazing thing. To
Yeah.
hear somebody say, I was moved by what you talked about. That's what I want to hear sometimes. It could be that
Yes.
one person. I don't need 1,000 people. Could you imagine being in a room with 1,000 people that liked your post? That
Probably
is so
not.
overwhelming. Exactly. You wouldn't want to do that. Even 10
Right.
people saying, I like your work, I like your work. No, we don't work like that as human beings. And we're not supposed to have that type of interaction because that's how it's going to break us and eventually. So once you kind of disconnect from that, I had that disconnect when I went to Singapore, took that moment away and was like, oh, wow, now I can create and have fun with it. And
Yes.
now I create content to have fun because sometimes I look silly. I can admit that. It's cringy. My daughters are going to be like, "Oh my God, Dad, that is cringy. What are you doing there?" Uh, you know, it's going to happen, but I learn from it. I learn new creative things from it. I've learned that I've got much more confident in speaking to the camera much more now. I can create some really cool videos as well sometimes because it is for me. It's for my
Mhm.
self-pleasing. That's my video. So I will watch it again and then I will notice little things I can change.
Mhm.
But then you're going to inspire somebody else in the process. And I think that's a responsibility we take on as content creators. Yes, it can get messy, it can get personal. I just want to connect with people that really want to do amazing things in their lives and they're capable of doing it because a lot of people don't believe in themselves. I
Yeah.
don't want that type of message going out to anybody because I am still that everyday guy, that everyday dad, everyday person that is doing great things.
Yeah.
And you can do that as well. Everybody can do that. It's just that
Mhm.
belief in yourself. And I think that's where we kind of started off is that belief in yourself. Uh,
Mhm. Absolutely.
even through hardship, is endure that definitely.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And speaking of not just your personal page, but everything related to the Brothers Geek Out
Mhm.
brand, between Instagram, we have multiple YouTube channels, we have TikTok, we have all kinds of things. And no, I did not forget the Red Bubble. I did not forget the commissions that you do with painting on t-shirts and jackets. I saw the jean jacket, it was
Thank you.
wonderful. With almost 30,000 followers, subscribers across these multiple platforms, why do you think so many people love and support what you do?
I hope that I come across genuine in what I do and that I'm still you. That's what I hope it is. Not because of getting to be on the red carpets, not because I can draw. I can be you. I
Mhm.
am you. You know, each of us
Mhm.
carry something with us, each of us.
Mhm.
And I think we've all been in pain, all been in disbelief as well. And I talk about it on the podcast about my mental health and how a lot of
Yes.
things in the world right now has broken me
Yes.
and that I still push through it because I have some sort of hope we'll get to some goodness, some goodness. And we've suffered a lot as human beings altogether. We had COVID, we had all these things breaking out, all these wars happening at the moment.
Yes.
Of course, it's going to break us. It's going to break our mental health. Increase in pricing on cost of living. There is so much. I mean, even in the States at the moment, what you guys are going through at the moment, it's horrible. It's horrible everywhere. I want to be able to be one of them bright lights to say, you know what, I heard this podcast or I heard Kibs talking about this, and I hope it's because I was genuine, I was honest, and that you don't have to be flamboyant. You can be along the way, definitely, without a
Sure.
doubt. You can be along the way, but it's not easy. It's not going to be
Yeah.
easy. And I think hopefully it's because that people can see that this guy has persevered and endured what he's gone through, and he's got to go do some cool stuff in the process as well. And he's still enduring it right now. So how
Hmm.
is he keeping up with it? How is he doing it? And it's just because there's that spark. There's that little spark that keeps me
Hmm.
going. And the kids. When the kids give me
Absolutely.
that cheeky smile saying, Daddy, I love you.
Yes.
That's all the motivation you need. So motivation and the love of it. Hopefully people get to see the love of what I do. I absolutely
Yes.
love it. Pop culture is in my DNA. Comic book, artwork, any type of art. It's there embedded in what I do. I love it. I absolutely adore what I do. I love what I do. And I'm not here long. So whatever I can leave for my nieces and nephews, and their kids maybe later on, that's a legacy. You create a legacy. A lot of people don't like that word, but I feel like, everybody has a legacy. Everybody has a
Yeah.
destiny. Destiny maybe not be shown straight away, but we do what we can as humans to fulfill that destiny. I'm still on my journey. I'm still on my journey.
Even earlier in our conversation, when you talked about the reason why you're drawn to or compelled to one artist over another, and just that uniqueness, that touch, that personal feeling that an artist brings, even with content creating,
Mm,
I definitely think it's a blend of you as you are, your personality, your life story, your journey that people feel connected to. And I completely agree with the authenticity piece of it too. When someone, a longtime supporter of mine, for example, will DM me and be like, just so you know, I love what you do.
mm.
It's so clear that you are passionate about what you do and create. And that touches me when someone can recognize my authenticity. And it sounds like it touches you as well. I wanted to talk about Gilman and the Brothers Geek Out. Do you recommend everyone start a podcast with their siblings?
It's a tough one. We're quite a close-knit family. I think that's one thing that my parents taught us. They didn't really have unity in their families, and my dad was really big on unity. So regardless of what happens or how bad we are with each other, or if we don't get along, is that we have unity, that we can stand up for each other. And I think that works kind of across the board. You don't have to be blood. As long as you're
Mhm.
there for each other, I think it will work out. But yeah, definitely. He's quite strict with me. He's like, make sure you get on this at this time and make sure we get this done. And he's like my manager at the moment, bless him. But he does, I was originally when we started the podcast, I was the one that did all the editing, did all the social media. He was not the creative one. He's the fighter of the family. He's the
Mm,
fighter of the family. He's been doing martial arts, MMA for such a long time, and he's the fighter. But now he's getting into his creative side. He's editing. He's giving me all the shorts and stuff like that. So it's like I'm proud of him. I'm really proud of him. It's got his creativity out of it.
definitely. You
Yeah.
just talked about how you have different personalities, and earlier talking about how the podcast keeps you two connected and keeps that
Hmm.
relationship strong, which I think is wonderful. I've created content with my twin sister. Our
Cool.
YouTube channel is a bit dormant at the moment. I relate to what you're talking about with distance, time
Yeah.
management, life,
Hmm.
etc. can get in the way. What is the most rewarding and challenging parts of working with your brother?
Rewarding part is that I get that time with him.
Yeah.
Because in that podcast, we don't just talk about pop culture as much as we do, movies and the rest of it. I get to catch up with my brother. We talk about mental health, how we're doing, how
Yes.
things are, what we're going through. It's a moment to catch up with him. So I get that time. That's like the greatness of it. The challenge is because he's been in different parts of the world, it's the timing. When he was in Hong Kong, that's an 8 hour difference. When he was in Singapore, 8 hour. Now he's in Dubai, it's only a couple of hours. But sometimes when he was in Singapore and Hong Kong, it was like, oh my God, these times are horrible. Or get up really early to do the episode because my life changed after having kids. I haven't got a structure to my day. Everything changes. That's the challenging part is the timing. But now that he's in Dubai, it kind of works out really well with the
Sure.
timing. He's only like a couple of hours ahead.
Okay.
So there's no issues there. So, but timing was a challenge. That was really hard. That was really
Sure.
hard. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time. I had such a blast
Oh,
speaking with
bless you.
you. Thank you so, so much, Kibla, for sitting down with
No.
me. letting us get to know you. Do you have any final thoughts, maybe words of wisdom you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Again, thank you so much for having me on as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Just keep going, guys. That's the only thing I can say is really just keep going. I think it's going to be the journey. It's going to be hard, not going to be easy, but honestly, great things are going to come out of what you do. So keep going.
Yes. Perfect. Of course, I will have Kib's Instagram linked in the description box for you all to check out. Please show him some love and support. He deserves it. Thank you so much again for your time, and we will chat again very soon. And thank you
Definitely.
all so much for watching. Until next time, take care and
See you
stay
later, guys.
well.
See ya.